Welcome back to New York Wedding Jam, the podcast for modern couples. I'm your host, Jason Alisea, and I am joined by my co-host, Martine Darniak. Hi, Martine.
Hey Jason, how's it going?
I'm doing good. I'm loving this hot weather. I'm a hot weather guy, so
Fair.
I am not upset with the heat and the humidity in New York. So
I got you. You know the thing is, like I've always been the person who doesn't get hot. Like it could be 100 degrees and I'm still under the blankets. You know, kind of girl.
yeah,
But I am today actually a little warm, which is a little concerning for me.
yeah.
Thankfully, because like I'm not used to that.
I think there's a little misnomer about people who love the heat and to miss this whole uh, concept of being hot. So
Yeah.
I, as a person who admittedly loves the heat and the humidity, that's not to say that when it gets really hot, like in the 90s, that I don't
Yeah.
feel the heat and that I do get a little uncomfortable. But I feel like I manage it okay. Like I'm
Yeah.
comfortable being hot.
That's fair.
Right? Like it's not like I'm like, oh, I feel great. No, I feel the heat, and sometimes it gets a little excessive, but I'm able to manage it better than most, I think.
Got you.
But I'm
You.
the opposite when it's cold. Like if it's like 40, I'm already like getting my hat out, and I'm like getting my parkas out. You know?
That's probably that island flair there, Jason. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna lie. And I'm probably on the same boat, right? Like I don't want to be cold, but I also say in New York, some of it is you just need to embrace the weather as it is, right? Because otherwise you'd be complaining all year, right? I'm hot, I'm cold, it's wet, it's you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's too this, it's too that. And I'm like, well, you gotta like something. So
Like 10 years ago, I had been cold my whole life in winter. And about
yeah,
10, maybe a little more than 10 years ago, I decided I'm not going to be cold. And I went out and I invested in some heavy duty winter, like hats and,
right,
I've changed hats in 10 years, but like I got a coat. Like I was always wearing like coats from Target or like
right,
just a regular coat. Now I spent $1,000 on a coat and
right.
I'm not cold.
Yeah,
I
there
gotta
you
tell
go.
you, you know what I
And
mean?
there you go.
So,
So we can rock it however it happens. But yes, it is kind of nice to be in full summer mode at this point.
yep.
I am enjoying it and enjoying some downtime on my side here. And our couples need to enjoy some downtime too before their weddings.
They do.
Gonna,
They
which
do.
is going to lead us right into our topic for today.
Good segue,
Bachelor
Martine.
parties.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. So today's topic is bachelor parties and how some groups of guys can enjoy some time together, some relaxation, and something that's like not the typical strip club scenario. And I don't even know if strip clubs are even like the thing for most guys anymore.
I don't know anybody, like none of my couples have gone in that direction for the thing that they're trying to do.
At least not that you know of.
Not that I know of. But with social, here's the thing: with social now, everybody's posting those pictures, right? Like, and
Right.
so
Right.
I get to see most of the bachelor and bachelorette parties anyway,
Right.
and like maybe it's part of their trip, but it's definitely not the focus
Yeah.
of what they're doing for
Yes.
sure.
Yes. Yes.
Are guys taking trips like the girls are now? Because like it used to be like bachelor party was like a night,
Yes.
you know, and then like the bachorette party turned into this like weekend or week long extravaganza.
Right.
So I'm not sure. Like, did have we changed the mentality of like the guy version of this? Like, do bachelor parties happen over a span of time now too?
I think it depends on the budget of the group of guys. I think if they have a little bit less money, it might be a night out. And if they have a little bit more money, it might be a weekend locally. Like maybe if they're from New York City, they
Right.
do a bunch of things around New York City for the weekend. And if they have more money, it might be a weekend in another location.
Right.
So,
Yeah, fair.
so one of the things that I have seen, I have seen one of my grooms do is an adventure weekend.
Yeah.
Okay, so one of these things usually involve like some type of physical. Like my friend took a surfing. It's actually a friend of mine, and actually did shoot his wedding. It was a surfing weekend, and so they went to Puerto Rico. They were getting married in March, and surfing in Puerto Rico is best in February, like January, February.
Cool.
So that's when the waves are the best, and so they spent the weekend in Puerto Rico surfing. And I don't know if you know this part of Puerto Rico called Rincon. It's very inexpensive. It's expensive to fly there during February from New York City, but once you're there and once you're in the town of Rincon, it's very inexpensive.
Gotcha.
Beers are cheap, food is cheap. Airbnbs will try to get you a little bit, but it's still relatively lower than any city in America or most cities in America, while being in a beautiful tropical island. So,
well, and then you got to go surfing, so I mean, nothing wrong with that for sure.
yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing being with a bunch of people surfing in such a gorgeous place. So,
I like the notion of like different ideas on things that people can do. So like the adventure bachelor party sounds like a good time, especially if that's what like most of your friends are into.
right.
I've had the people who are like, if you're really into hiking, like we're taking a trip and we're, you know what I mean, that's what we're doing. We're going on a bunch of nature hikes and we're doing that kind of thing. I've also seen like if the one that sounded like more up my alley, truthfully, is like the ones that's like all gaming stuff, like
Okay.
or we're going to play games and we're just a lot of games, right? Like not necessarily just video games, but like we're going to like old school arcades, or we're playing like laser tag, or I know that's kind of an old one, but that kind of thing, or like paintball. Tends to be another big one that I've seen a few people do on my end.
Yes, I didn't know that you were into gaming, Martine.
I am. So I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I am a big nerd, and I take my nerddom to a lot of different arenas.
That is your nerd applause,
That's
Martine.
my nerd applause. I like it. I'll take it. No, I mean, I do like games, and I like playing them, and so like it's always kind of fun for me to just think. I mean, I'm not going to the bachelor party, right? But I'm just saying, like it is kind of fun. It is kind of fun to like see people planning stuff that like interests that something that they can do with their group of friends that they feel are something that they can all do together, and everybody's going to have a good time.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. I know that oftentimes guys are together as a group, like huge fans of certain sports teams, like professional sports teams.
Yeah.
So traveling to a nearby city or a faraway city to follow their favorite team and go as a group into the hotel, into the stadium, and to tailgate if it's football, or hit the bars if it's baseball or basketball. That's also a thing that I've seen. I know guys, I know people, I've not done it, even though I'm a huge Yankee fan, but I know some football friends of mine who are the Jets fanatics, and it's hard to be a fanatic for the Jets. I don't know if anybody follows sports. It's a pretty sad state of affairs, but
That's a difficult one.
it's hard to be a Jets fan. But I have some friends who have gone away to California, to Chicago, for games, and it's been a lot of fun. I didn't attend, but I could, I hear the stories and I see the pictures and stuff, and it's great. Just going, being wearing the away team jersey and being the underdog, as the Jets usually are, or whatever your team is. Just going away, it can be a fun time.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I definitely think that as long as like that could be fun, right? Like we're making a whole excursion of it, and then like especially if it's in a city that's not local, going out to see the Jets, at least somebody's cheering them on, right?
You mean besides their cheerleaders?
Yeah, exactly. So you get to do that with a group of people, as long as the group is on the same page about it, right? Like
Right.
we're going to see somebody, especially if it's like a big rivalry team or something.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
And they want to kind of make a bigger impact, which is kind of nice.
Sure. You got to be careful though if you're doing them on the sports end of things, and the wedding is coming up. You don't want to wind up in a fight. If you're a Yankee fan and you're going up to Boston to antagonize some Boston fans,
No.
it could be, you got to be careful.
Yeah, definitely want to make it a fun outing and not. It's meant to be entertaining and amusing and allow you to get back to your wedding in one piece for sure.
Yeah. Right.
I've also seen just kind of like it. Some of these can like are sounding like a lot of trip stuff. But people could just like as long as we're like, do we have food involved? Do we have you know what I mean, like the group of guys and something that you guys typically do together. It's just more like maybe more of it. You know what I mean? Like instead of just like one event, like it could be multiple, but it's something that you guys like tend to like to do as a group, or this is the reason that we get together with each other. I think those sound like fun.
Sure. Sure. I've seen golf outings as part of a bachelor party. It might be like a couple of rounds of golf and then dinner. So these are maybe like your single day events where it's just like a full day of golf and an expensive or semi-expensive dinner. Guys just enjoying like a really nice steak with some really expensive wine and having a fine dining experience after a day of refined golfing. I'm putting that in air quotes. But
No, I mean, I think that sounds like. I mean, again, if you're like, I'm not into golfing, right? Like, but if you were like, and if that's what the group is known to do, I had a manager once who like that's what his group did, right? Like they would get together like every few years and take a golf trip, right? And so, that's the kind of thing that sounds like it would be a great time if you're into it, like if that's something that you want to do. I think that's the more important part. I guess the whole point is like, rather than just doing something just to do it, doing something that everybody's going to be entertained by is so much more helpful. But the hard part is like, the groom is not usually planning his own bachelor party, right? Like, so somebody else has got to step up and like actually put some thought into planning it.
yeah, but I feel like they may not be planning it, but they have to like consult the groom and say,
Right.
hey, we're thinking about a trip in Miami or a day of golf in Boston or something that
Right.
it's like we know where we're going and know what we're doing, and then the details get worked out.
Yeah. No, I mean, as long as that's the level at which we're doing it, I think it's fine. I've also seen like a lot more co-ed parties, so like not just bachelor parties, but bachelor bachelorette like combined.
Yes.
Where
I have
people
too.
Are doing much more combined things right now, which definitely used to not be a thing, and I'm here for it.
Yeah, and I actually feel like I've seen photos and a few video clips of some of my clients doing these co-ed bachelorette parties on Instagram. And what it basically looks like to me, and this is no knock on it because maybe some of my clients are listening, but it looks like basically an extension of the engagement party. except without the parents and grandparents there. It's like, all right, get rid of those people. Now we're going to have some fun. It basically looks like the dance party of a reception.
Got you.
Without the parents there.
Got you. I mean, again, I think that's one we didn't talk about, right? Like, but if you're going out dancing or, like club scene or concert or live music of some kind, I feel like that's actually probably a pretty good one for a co-ed event.
Right.
If you're going to do it. But I don't know. I guess I've also seen pictures where it just looks like a couple's trip. You know what I mean? Like, so one thing I do think you should probably be careful of is if you have your single friends and you're doing the co-ed event, like that we're not forgetting that some of the people on this trip are not, coupled up.
Oh, I see.
Events.
I see. Like everybody has to be paired off.
Yeah, and you're like,
Okay.
well, that could be kind of frustrating for the people who aren't, you know?
Right. For that
in your
one ninth wheel or something like that.
Exactly.
The 11th wheel. Oh, poor guy.
Yeah, exactly.
There's always an 11th wheel guy.
There's always that one person, you know? Always that one person.
But in situations like that, it almost becomes not weird because everybody just knows that one guy is just...
That one guy is
he's just
riding solo.
Right. It's just Steve. Steve is always solo. That's it. It's not even awkward anymore.
Also true.
All right.
Yeah, so I mean, I think, again, like, as long as people are having fun, having a good time, keeping what your friends want to do in mind, one thing that I always like to say is, like, just, sometimes it gets to be a lot, especially when you've asked people to spend lots of money on other areas of your wedding, so...
That's the thing, yeah.
Yeah, keeping those budgets in mind for people as the events are being planned. Everybody should have a good time, but let's not make it awkward for your friends to hang out with you for this kind of milestone event, you know?
Yeah, definitely know your audience. If you're one of the, wealthier guys in your group, you may want to tone it down a bit.
Scale it back.
Yeah. And whoever's planning, if it's your best man, whoever is planning your bachelor party, you should also be, open and flexible, and tell that person to kind of keep everybody's budget in mind. I mean, that guy might be a baller, but the rest of your friends are broke. And you got to keep that in mind. That we're not all going to Miami, right?
Exactly.
So, all right,
well,
Martine.
Thanks for chatting.
Yeah, go ahead. You
That's all I was gonna say.
You say your farewells first, fairly well.
Bye. Till next time.
Let me throw in the laugh track. Just for good measure. All right, guys.
For good measure.
Yeah, I'll wait for it to be end. It's over. Okay.
Have a good one.
Bye, Martine.
Bye.